Okay, so y'all, the second thing we're going to do today, we're going to talk about 8.3, which is this idea called measures of dispersion. So y'all, one of the things we're going to talk about is this concept called the range. What the range is going to tell me is if we have a set of numbers, right? So if we decided to like measure everybody's height, how tall is everybody, right? And then we were to say, let's take the tallest person, let's figure out their height, and let's take the shortest person, let's figure out their height. That would tell me how far or how wide the range is in heights. So the range, y'all, is really just going to be the highest data point minus the lowest data point, or the biggest number minus the smallest number. So, y'all, right here it says find the range for the group of data items. Okay, so the highest number, y'all, is 19. The smallest one is 15. If we subtract them, we have a range of 4. That's all it tells us. Okay, that's the range. All the numbers, no number is going to be more than 4 points or 4 values away from another one. Okay. Standard deviation. So, y'all, another type of measurement we talk about, because range is simple to do, right? Is this idea called standard deviation, where the range tells me only the biggest number minus the smallest number. The standard deviation says how far is every number from the average, excuse me, from the average of the set of numbers. Okay. So, y'all, here what we have a group of data points, okay, 27, 45, 63, 108, 162, and 243. And in this problem, y'all, they were nice enough to already find the average for us. Okay, they found the average to be 108. What we're going to do is we're going to find what we call the deviation from the mean of each of the data points. So, y'all, let me show you how I'm going to do this here. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to take my calculator right here, y'all. Let me clear this thing out. Okay, I'm going to keep it real simple. And y'all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first data point, 27, and I'm going to subtract my average, 108. 27 minus 108, a negative 81. Y'all, it's okay for us to end up with negative numbers, okay? We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take 45 minus 108, negative 63. Okay. Then we're going to take 63 minus 108, and I'm going to get negative 45. And then we're going to take the third one, or the fourth one, I'm sorry, 108 minus the average, again, 108, 0. Okay. And then we're going to take 162 minus 108 and 54. And then finally, y'all, 243 minus 108. And I'm coming up with 135. Okay. That right there, those are what we call deviations. This is how much further our numbers are from the average. So, y'all, numbers like 27, 45, and 63, because those numbers are smaller than the mean, we say they're below the average. Okay. Numbers like 162 and 243, because they're higher, we say those numbers are bigger than the average or higher than the average. Okay. Now, y'all, part B, there's a part B to this question. And part B says, can we find the sum of these deviations? Meaning, could we add up those numbers right there? And yeah, it wouldn't be difficult to do. So let's do this. Look, I already have 135. I'm going to add 54. I'm going to add 0. I'm going to add 45, but it's negative. I'm going to add 63, but it's negative. And I'm going to add 81, but it's negative. And when we add them up, check out what number we got. We got 0. Okay. So we added them together. We got 0. Okay. Let's try another problem similar to the one we just did. So I'm going to scroll down, Charlie Brown, right over here. And I got another problem that's similar to the one we just did. Okay. So this problem, again, similar. They gave me a set of values, y'all. And again, they were nice enough. They gave me the average. And it says, can we find the deviation from the mean from each of the following items? Yeah, we can do this again. So look, y'all, first thing we're going to do, we're going to say the number 120, that's my first number, minus the average, which is 200, that's a negative 80. Okay. If we did 156 minus 200 again, negative 44. Okay. If I took 196 minus my average, negative 4, bless you. And 200 minus 200, boom, I know that's 0. 216 minus 200, I know that's 16. 312 minus 200, I know that's 112. Okay. So y'all, when we find, again, they gave us the average here. They added those numbers up. They divided by, 6 of them, and they said the average is 200. One of the things we talk about is we say, well, suppose we wanted to find what is the average of each of those differences. We would have to take these numbers here and add them up. So if we were to take those numbers there and add them up, let me clear this out. So we have 80, but it's negative, plus 44, but it's negative, plus 4, but it's negative, plus 0, plus 112. Ooh, let me see, I did something wrong. 80, but it's negative, plus 44, but it's negative, plus 4, but it's negative, plus 0, plus, maybe I didn't add 16. Boom, there we go. Plus 112, there we go. Y'all check out when it happens again. We still get 0. So one of the things that we try to figure out is, well, how could we find the average of these numbers if every time we add them up, we get 0? Okay. All right, y'all, we're going to sort of do the same thing here. The only thing we have to do in this problem, we have to first find the average. So y'all, first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to add up my numbers. So we have 150 plus 154 plus 157 plus 161 plus 163 equals, let's see. And now how many numbers do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to divide this by 5, my friends. And I'm coming up with 157. Okay, there's my mean. Okay, so y'all, for part A, we found the mean. Part B, we're going to find the deviation. So we're going to go like this. 150 minus 157, negative 7. Okay, we did this one. 154 minus 157, negative 3. Okay, we did that one. 157 minus 157, 0. 161 minus 157 should be 4. 163 minus 157 should be 6. Okay. Part C. Can we add up these numbers right here? Y'all, 4 and 6, 10. If I owe you 7 and I borrow 3 more, I owe you 10. 10 and 10, 0. And pues with that 0, todavía still 0. Right? And that's all we had to do. Okay. All right, let's do part C, or this next one, sorry. We're going to do the same thing again, y'all. I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to add them together. So let's go 2.40 plus 2.95 plus 2.50 plus 2.30 plus 3.10 equals, and I'm going to divide them by, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to divide it by 5. Okay, my average, y'all, 2.65. So part A, my average, 2.65. Okay, let's do part B. 2.40 minus 2.65, negative 0.25. Use the first one. 2.95 minus 2.65, 0.3. 2.50 minus 2.65, negative 0.15. 2.30 minus 2.65, negative 0.35. And then finally, 3.10 minus 2.65, positive 0.45. And y'all, it should, unless I made a mistake, they should add up to 0. So look, 0.25, oops, 0.25 negative plus 0.3 plus 0.15, but make it negative, plus 0.35, but make it negative, plus 0.45, boom, and we get 0. Part C, boom, we get 0. Okay, so y'all, excuse me. One of the things that when we're trying to say, if we wanted to find the average of those numbers, y'all, we would have to add those numbers up and divide by however many we have. But if you notice, every time we add those numbers up, we keep getting 0, right? So how would we figure out, how could we find the average of those numbers? Okay, so y'all, what we're going to do, we're going to find something that we call the standard deviation, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to find the mean, meaning we're going to find the average, okay? Then we're going to do what we've been doing so far. We're going to find the difference in those numbers, okay? Once we find the difference in those numbers, y'all, we're going to square those numbers, okay? Once we square those numbers, we are going to add them together. Okay. Once we add those numbers together, we're going to divide by 1 less than what we have, okay? And then once, sorry. We're going to divide by 1 less than the total. And then finally, what we're going to do, we're going to take the square root. Okay, so y'all, we're going to go really slow here, okay? And we're going to do this in pieces. Okay, the first part, if we want to find the standard deviation, part A, y'all, we're going to find the average. So I'm going to take my calculator, boom, right here, y'all. Let me clear this whole thing out, and I'm going to add them up. So we got 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Okay, 25, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to divide it by 5. We got 5. There's my average. Okay, let's do part B. Part B, we're going to go 3 minus 5, 4 minus 5, 5 minus 5, 6 minus 5, 7 minus 5. Okay, we're going to find those numbers. So 3 minus 5, negative 2, 4 minus 5, negative 1, 5 minus 5 is 0, 6 minus 5 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2. Okay, part C. Y'all, we're not going to add those numbers together. What we're going to do is we're going to square each of those numbers. Okay. So, y'all, just as a reminder, negative 2 squared, what negative 2 squared means is negative 2 times negative 2, positive 4. Negative 1 squared, negative 1 times negative 1, positive 1. 0 squared, 0 times 0, still 0. 1 squared, 1 times 1, still 1. Okay. 2 squared, 2 times 2, 4. Okay. I'm going to kind of move over here, y'all, because I'm kind of running out of room. I apologize. Part D. We're going to add those guys up. So again, I'm going to take my calculator right here, y'all. And we're going to add these guys. So we're going to go 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. We're going to add those together. Boom. I'm coming up with 10. Okay. All right. Y'all, part E. We're going to take the number 10 and we're going to divide by one less of the numbers that we had. So y'all, we had a total of 5 numbers here. We're going to actually divide it by 4. Okay. So I'm going to take the number 10. Sorry. I'm going to take the number 10. We're going to divide it by 4. Boom. We're going to hit equals. We got 2.5. Now, this is the last step, y'all. To find my standard deviation, we're going to take what we call the square root of 2.5. So again, I'm going to come over here to my calculator. And if you look right here, y'all, that's my square root button. So if I go second and square root of what number? Of 2.5. Boom. I'm getting that guy right there. Okay. Now, y'all, since I'm coming up with that number right there, the square root of 2.5 is 1.58. That's going to be my standard deviation. Boom. What that tells me, y'all, is that on average, every number is about 1.58 away from the average. Okay. Now, y'all, you can see that this is a process and a half, right? So, y'all, I don't know how many of you guys are planning on taking statistics, but when you take statistics, one of the first things we figure out how to do is how do we find the standard deviation, right? Now, if you look at this problem numbers, y'all, we only had 5 numbers, right? Finding the average, we added them up, we divided by 5, easy breezy cover girl. Taking the difference between each of those numbers, not hard, right? Taking those numbers and squaring them, easy to do. Adding up those numbers, again, not difficult, right? Guys, I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger in school, I used to struggle a lot. I failed like math in 9th grade. 9th grade, y'all, I failed English 1, Algebra 1, Biology 1, right? I was going to be a sophomore. So my dad, you know what he made me do that summer? Go work at my parents' ranch. I was lifting bales every day, right? At 15 years old. Man, that was hard stuff, right? Is this hard? No. Is it tedious? Yes. So there is a much easier, breezier, cover go way to do these problems. And I'm going to show you that right now, y'all. So look, we're going to find the standard deviation of this, but we're going to keep it really simple. So y'all, when that lady that came by the other day and she gave you guys calculators, right? Oops, sorry. They should look something like this. We're going to use this guy, y'all. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to bust out your calculator because otherwise you're going to have to end up doing it this way. It's going to take you forever and a day. So this is what we're going to do, y'all. If you got your calculator, bust it out. Okay. On your calculator right here, there should be, let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. There should be a button right here that says data. Click on that button for me. Okay. Click on the button that says data. What we're going to do, y'all, we're going to enter these numbers in. We're going to go 20 and then use this little down arrow button. And then we're going to put in 24 and we're going to go down arrow again. And we're going to go 24 and we're going to go down arrow again and we're going to go 31. Okay. And then we're going to hit enter. Okay. And then we want to get out of this thing, y'all. So the way we get out of it, we're going to go second and quit. Okay. Now, I want to get to my stats. And if you can see right here, there's a little button right above data that says stats. The way we're going to get to that, we're going to hit second and we're going to hit the data button. Y'all, we want to compute what we call our one variable stats. So look, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to hit the number 1 and I'm just going to keep hitting enter. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. The symbol that we use for standard deviation, y'all, the symbol that we use for standard deviation is this little S to the X button, right? So right here, if I look at my S to the X, it's that one right there, okay? Y'all, when you're doing this standard deviation, I want you to notice what it tells me. We're going to round to 2 decimal places. So y'all, the only question I want to ask you, what do you guys think? 4.57 or 4.58? 57, right? Boom. And that's all you got to do. And you don't got to go through that whole other process that we just did right now, right? This is going to make this thing easy breezy cover girl, right? So check it out, y'all. I'm going to scroll down Charlie Brown and we're going to do it again. Okay. So look, here's my set of numbers. Y'all, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit clear on my calculator. Okay. And I'm going to go back to data. Okay. Now, y'all, you can see that the numbers that I had in there were still there. If I go up, sorry, if I come up here, man, where am I? Boom. And I just hit clear. Let's see, enter. Let me see, sorry. Data, man, usually it's supposed to clear it out for me. I'm trying to figure out how to clear it out. Oh, man, maybe we can delete it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I just hit delete and it got rid of all the numbers that we had. Okay, let's try this again, y'all. So look, I'm going to go 12, down arrow, 12 again, down arrow, 12 again, down arrow, 14, down arrow. And then we got the number 16, y'all, 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times a lady, right? Hit enter. Boom. Okay, now I want to get out of here. I want to get back to my main screen. So I'm going to go second and mode because there's a quit right there. Okay. Now I want to get to my stats. So what I'm going to do this, y'all, I'm going to go second and stats. We're going to do our one variable statistics. And I'm just going to hit enter, enter, enter. Okay. So remember, y'all, my standard deviation is the SX button. So my SX button here on my calculator is giving me the value of 2. Okay? And there's my standard deviation. Now, let me explain what is 2 telling me. Y'all, 2 is not a big number. 2 is relatively small, right? When my number is relatively small, what that tells me is that these numbers here are relatively close together, right? So if we had like a group of kids, right, and 3 of them were 12 years old, 1 was 14, the other 3 were 16 years old, we'd say, yeah, they're kind of close in age, right? I know 12 and 16, there's a big difference, but they're relatively close in age, right? If my standard deviation is small, that means that all the numbers are relatively close to each other. If my standard deviation is big, then that means that some of the numbers are spread out further than the others, okay? So look, let's try the same thing over here, and let's see if we can figure out how would I do this problem here. So y'all, what we're going to do, we're going to compute the mean, we're going to compute the range, and we're going to compute the standard deviation, okay? So y'all, we can still use our calculator to do most of this stuff here. So look, guys, I'm going to grab my calculator again, okay? Let me clear this thing out. Let me get back to my data. Okay, I want to clear this whole thing out. So y'all, I'm just going to start deleting, right? Deleting my values. Okay. Now, let me start listing my numbers in my first sample. So I'm going to go 23 down, 31 down, 39 down, 47 down, 55 down, 63 down, 71 down. Okay. And then I'm going to get out of here. So I'm going to go second and quit. Okay. I want to get back to my stats. So look, y'all, I'm going to go second, stats. I'm going to compute again my one variable statistics. Let's just keep hitting enter. Okay. So a couple of things here, y'all. Remember what the symbol for the mean was? The symbol for the mean is X bar. So y'all, if I look right here and I look at my number 2 on my calculator, my X bar, 47. Boom. Okay, we'll figure out the range in a second. Let's see if we can do our standard deviation. So remember, y'all, my standard deviation is my SX button right here. We want to 2 decimal places, 17.28. So I go like this, 17.28. Now, y'all, remember how we would find the range? We take the biggest number minus the smallest number. Y'all, if I start hitting my down arrow button here, it might tell me, here we go. My smallest number was 23. My biggest number was 71. So 71 minus 23, and I'll figure out what that's going to be. That's about the only calculation I got to do. 48. There's my range. Okay. All right. Y'all, we did sample A. Let's repeat this same process, y'all, for sample B. So again, I'm going to come back to data, and I'm just going to clear all these guys out. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And I'm going to start listing them again. 23, down. 27, down. 31, down. 47, down. 63, down. 67, down. 71, down, or enter, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's get out of here again. Let's come back to our stats. So second in stats, we're going to compute our one variable statistics. Just keep hitting enter until we get our numbers. Okay, now for sample B, my friends, my average is still 47, okay? But my standard deviation is 20.26, okay? And I need to find my range. My range, look, still 71 minus 23, still 48. Boom. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do my third one, y'all. So look, let me clear this thing out. Let me come back to my data. Let me just delete all my numbers that I got here. Okay. And let me list them. 23. And I got 23 again. And I got 23 again. And we got 47. And then we got 71 once, twice, 3 times. Okay. And then I'm going to quit here. And I'm going to come back to my second stats. And again, I'm just going to compute my one variable stats all the way down. Okay. Look, my average, still 47, right? Okay. My range, still 48. Okay. My standard deviation is 24. Okay. All right. So y'all, now what we're going to do, we're going to come back and we're going to answer the questions. How are they alike? Which numbers were the same? Well, if you look at the numbers that are the same, they're the mean and the range, right? So we're going to say, look, they are the mean and the range. Okay. How were they different? Well, which number was different? My standard deviation, right? Y'all, having this calculator right here is going to make it real easy breezy, CoverGirl, right? So y'all, on Monday we had an exam, right? And we had some people who didn't have a calculator. So they came up here to get that little 99-cent Dollar Tree calculator, right? And you can't do half of the stuff. So y'all, would I recommend that you get a calculator? Yes, I would. And if you don't have one, I'd tell you, take yourself down to Walmart, right? And get a calculator because, let me stop recording, because otherwise, right, boom, it's going to be hard to do that kind of stuff, right? So when y'all take your last test, y'all, if you don't have a calculator like this, right, and the one I would recommend getting is the TI, this guy right here, boom, right? And at Walmart, they're almost 20. Here we go. Look, oh man, why is it 7? Oh, because there's 5 of them, right? But $13, right? I mean, they're not pricey, y'all. They really aren't that expensive. But I would tell you, look, why is this 500? Because there's a whole bunch of them in there, right? But go get yourself a calculator like that because it's going to make it easy. Otherwise, the process you're going to end up doing is this every time. And man, that's just going to take you forever and a day, right? And if you say, sir, do you got a calculator? No, I don't, right? So anywho, guys, right? Make sure that you do that stuff. Yo, just as a heads up, Monday, next time I see you guys, Monday, we got one last section to do, y'all. 8.4. This is the last section of material we're going to go through. Okay, so we're going to go through this on Monday. And then next Wednesday, y'all, the day before Thanksgiving, we won't have any class. The Monday after that, so let's just kind of go through the calendar real quick. This coming Monday, the 24th, we'll finish up chapter 8. The day before Thanksgiving, go help out at the house, right? Cut the yard, cut the carrots, whatever you got to do. Get on the road if you're going to grandma's or something. The Monday we come back is the retest. On the 3rd is the day that we're going to review for the final, and there'll be another extra credit assignment. And then on the 10th is our final exam. We do not meet on the 8th. We only meet on the 10th. So this coming Monday, guys, this coming Monday right here, I'm going to have the review for the final setup for you guys. And I'll tell you how many questions were on the final exam, all that kind of good stuff, okay? But the semester is winding down. Anywho, that's it for us today. Thank you all for showing up. I do appreciate it. And I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Guys, remember your extra credit points